Today, I will take you through a 35-minute healing full body flow. Grab your mat and get ready to begin. Hello and welcome to Asana with Jess. Today we will start seated in our cross-legged position, our easy pose, hands on the knees, closing the eyes or looking down, taking some deep breaths in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. Setting the tone for today's practice. When you are ready, open your eyes and move on into our tabletop position. Hips in line with the knees, shoulders in line with the hands. Lengthen the left leg out behind you while lengthening the right arm out in front of you. You can stay here, or to advance this pose, you can bend the left knee, bringing your right arm around behind you, holding onto that ankle and lifting up through that left foot for our bird dog pose. And slowly release the arm and the leg, bringing them down back into our tabletop position. Moving to the other side now, lengthening the right leg out behind you and the left arm out in front of you. Remembering you can stay here if this is where you're comfortable, or you can bend that right knee, bringing the left arm behind you, grabbing onto that ankle and lifting up through that foot. And releasing, coming back into our tabletop position, taking the knees as wide as the mat, toes together, pushing the hips back, bringing the hands forward for our child's pose. Coming up onto your fingertips for an added arm stretch. Breathing deep into this pose, making sure the hips are sitting right back, flush against the heels. Pressing that spine down, keeping a flat back, and resting your forehead on the mat. Feeling the deep stretch in the forearms. Introducing some movement now, walking the hands to the left side of the mat, feeling that deep stretch down the right side body. And walking the hands back to center. Now moving them to the right side of the mat, feeling the stretch down the left side body. And walking them back to center. Rolling through to your tabletop position, tucking the toes under, and lifting the knees off the mat, engaging your core. Hovering here for a moment, warming the body up before pushing the hips to the sky and untucking the toes for downward dog, remembering to keep your knees bent if this stretch is intense for you. You can start to pedal the feet out, bending one knee at a time to warm up those calves and hamstrings, and pressing the heels to the mat. Feel your sternum drop towards the floor, using your hands to distribute the weight evenly, and letting the head relax, looking towards your feet. Draw in a deep inhale, filling the lungs, and on the exhale, looking forward and taking 4 small steps towards your hands. Coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat, introducing a micro bend to the knees and letting the arms dangle in our ragdoll position. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold, bending at the knees and vertebrae by vertebrae. Lift yourself up to standing, rising the hands into the sky and down to Anjali Mudra, heart center. Taking a moment here to reset and catch your breath, sinking your breath into the movement again, drawing a deep breath in, and on the exhale, lifting the hands into the sky, bending at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold, planting the hands on the ground, stepping the right foot back, followed by the left foot, plank, taking your chaturanga either on your knees or on your toes, upward facing dog, pushing the hips into the sky, and this time, instead of untucking the toes, we're going to take a toe stretch, flowing back into our upward facing dog and flowing back into our toe stretch, hips to the sky, flowing back into our upward facing dog and flowing back, hips to the sky, this time untucking the toes for downward dog. Pressing the heels to the mat and lifting the right leg into the sky for three-legged dog. Bending at the knee and bringing that foot between the hands for our low lunge. Looking forward, pulling the left foot forward into a forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift, exhale fold, bending at the hips and the knees, slowly rolling up to a straight spine, bringing the hands into the sky and down to heart center. Taking a moment here to reset, drawing a deep inhale into the lungs, and on the exhale, bring the hands into the sky and take a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold, bend at the knees, stepping the left foot back, followed by the right foot into our plank position, and flowing through your chaturanga, upward facing dog, gazing up and pressing into the feet, pushing the hips into the sky, untucking the toes for downward dog, pressing the heels into the mat, and this time lifting the left foot into the sky for three-legged dog. Bend at the knee, placing the foot between the hands, followed by the right foot into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lengthen, exhale, fold. Slowly, vertebra by vertebra, roll up to a straight spine and draw the hands down to Anjali Mudra, heart center. Taking a few steps back on your mat so that there is room in front of you. Lift the left foot off the mat, drawing the knee in towards you. Hold onto the left toes with the right hand, and you can stay here, or you can try and lengthen your leg out in front of you, bringing your left arm directly out behind you. For our extended toe to hand pose, if you want to take this a level further, try and bend that knee again, readjust your grip, swapping hands, this time using the left hand. Lengthen the leg out towards your left side, opening up in the hips, a slightly different stretch. And bending that knee again, pulling the foot in, releasing it to the mat. Walking the legs out and moving to the other side, this time lifting the right foot off the mat, bending at the knee, holding onto the right foot with the left hand, staying here or extending that leg out in front of you. Extending the right arm directly behind you. And for an added stretch, pulling that knee in towards you once more, swapping hands to the right hand and extending out to the side, opening up the hip. And bending that knee once more, releasing that foot to the mat, walking the feet out and coming up to the top of your mat. Hands at heart center, releasing them into the sky and taking a forward fold. Taking a moment here in this forward fold to feel the stretch in your hamstrings and your calf muscles. Remembering to bend from the hips, not from the back, and it's okay if you can't touch the ground. Feeling the deep release all up the backs of the legs and the decompression of the spine. Introducing some movement now. Lifting the right foot and placing it to the left of the left foot, bending that knee but keeping the left leg straight. Targeting the left hamstrings that little bit more. And keeping your feet the same, swivel your hands around to the left, doing a 180-degree circle, untwisting the legs as you do this. Lift the left leg and bend it over the right leg, placing that foot to the right of the right foot. This time extending the right leg and keeping the left leg bent. Breathing deeply into this pose. Swiveling around, moving your hands to the right, doing a 180-degree turn, coming back to the front of the mat in a forward fold. Inhale, on the exhale, bend the knees, coming into a squat, and bring your hands to heart center. Turn to the right, bringing your left elbow to your right knee for our twisted chair pose. Feeling the gentle stretch in the back. Breathing in to the heat building up in your legs. and returning to center. Inhaling to reset, exhaling and bringing the right elbow to the left knee this time. And coming back to center, exhale, release the legs, straightening them out in a forward fold. Bend at the knees, stepping back into a low lunge, followed by the other foot, flowing through your chaturanga, upward facing dog, pushing the hips to the sky, untucking the toes for downward dog. Lift the right foot into the sky for three-legged dog. Bend at the knee, placing that foot between the hands. Lift your body up, bringing the hands into the sky and drawing them down to heart center for our Crescent Lunge. Taking a moment here to build strength in the legs. And when you're ready, extend the front leg, bringing your hands to the mat if you can, or use blocks to hold you up. Pulling the left hip forward while pushing the right hip back. Stacking the hips. Taking care to hinge from the hips and lengthen through the back. Bending back into that front leg and pushing it back into downward dog. Roll through the spine in a wave-like motion through to plank and flow through your vinyasa. Pressing the heels to the mat for downward dog. Inhale, and on the exhale, lift the left foot into the sky this time, three-legged dog. Bend at the knee, placing that foot between the hands, engaging the core, lifting the torso up, while bringing your hands down to heart center for our Crescent Lunge. On every exhale, sinking that little bit deeper into that bent knee, building strength, toning the legs, and bringing your hands to the mat or to your blocks, extending that front leg, stacking the hips, pushing the right hip forward and pulling the left hip back. Breathing into the stretch, feeling your muscles elongating. And bending back into that front knee, pushing it back into downward dog. Releasing from this pose and rolling through to plank, flow through a vinyasa. Meeting an upward facing dog, planting the knees on the mat and pushing the hips back to the heels for child's pose. Breathing deeply to calm the body and make the most of this restorative pose. A few more breaths here. Move your hands behind you, holding onto your heels. Roll on to the crown of your head, lifting up through the hips for our rabbit pose. Feeling that release in the upper back. And slowly lower to child's pose. When you're ready, shifting forward on your mat and laying on your stomach. Inhale, and on the exhale, lift your chest off the mat. Bringing your hands by your sides. You can stay here or you can lift your feet off the mat too for our locust pose. And if you're feeling really confident, you can extend your arms out beside your body. Lifting, engaging all of the muscles, lifting for a few more moments. And release, slowly melting into the mat. And coming onto your knees, pushing back into our counter pose, child's pose. Roll through to all fours and bring your legs out in front of you. Extending the left leg while bending the right leg and drawing the foot in. Turning to your right, using your left elbow on the outside of the right knee to stimulate a gentle twist in the spine. Using your right hand to keep your spine straight. Lifting up through the torso and looking over your right shoulder, keeping the left foot flexed. And releasing that elbow and the knee, coming back to a neutral spine. Flexing both feet and planting your hands behind you to help you bend from the hips. Hinge at the hips, coming into a forward fold. Can you go a little bit deeper? Maybe touching your toes this time. Breathing deeply into the back of the legs and the calves. Keeping a straight back, bending from the hips, not curving the spine. And when you're ready, slowly lift yourself up. This time drawing the left knee into your body and flexing the right toes. Turning towards your left, bringing the right hand on the outside of the left knee. For an upright supine twist. Feeling the gentle release in the upper back. And releasing that elbow and knee, coming back to a neutral spine. Bringing both legs out in front of you, slowly lower your back to the mat, coming into Savasana, a well-earned restorative end to today's practice. Letting your body become heavy, sinking, relaxing into this pose, and keeping your mind within our practice, not letting it wander, encouraging a meditation state. Thinking about your favorite place or person, maybe someone you'd like to dedicate your practice to today. Thinking of things you are grateful for and things you are proud of. Breathing deeply into the diaphragm, feeling your belly, your puku, rise and fall with each inhalation and exhalation. Doing a quick body scan, starting at your head, the crown chakra, relaxing your head and your face. Moving down to your neck, relaxing this into the mat. And moving on to your shoulders, your elbows, your hands, your chest and your ribs, melting into the mat. Moving on to your pelvis and your sacrum, relaxing this with every exhale. Shifting down to your legs, your knees, your ankles and your feet, letting it all go. Take a few more nourishing breaths in this pose. Inhale deeply and lift your hands above your head, taking a nice deep stretch all over your body. Shuffle your knees in, turning onto your side into our fetal position in your own time. And slowly make your way up into our easy pose in the middle of our mats. Rolling the shoulders back and keeping a straight spine. Well done on taking the time to nourish your body today. You are all wonderful human beings. Bringing the hands to heart center and bowing down to yourself and to your practice today. Namaste.